The ground cracked underfoot, dust filled the air, buildings lay shattered, remnants of a forgotten time. The world was a desolate landscape, scarred by some unseen disaster. The sky, choked with smoke, cast a dull orange glow over everything. It was a scene of utter devastation. Among the ruins, a lone figure stumbled. Doyuk, his clothes torn and his body weary, pushed forward. Every step was a testament to his will. He was exhausted, his energy depleted, but he couldn't afford to rest. Not here, not now. The air, heavy with the stench of decay, made it hard to breathe. The silence was broken only by the crunch of rubble beneath Doyuk's feet. It was the silence of a world that had lost its voice, a stark reminder of the catastrophe that had befallen it.
I need water, food, rest, but most importantly, I need to find survivors. Somewhere amidst the ruins, others must have endured.
A voice, raspy and ancient, cut through the silence. It seemed to come from the very air itself, echoing with an otherworldly power. Doyuk froze, his hand instinctively reaching for the weapon at his side. He spun around, searching for the source of the voice.
You are weary, traveler. Your journey has been long and arduous.
From the swirling dust emerged a figure, tall and skeletal, draped in tattered robes. The high priest, his eyes burning with an unsettling light, approached Doyuk. There was an air of ancient power about him, a sense of something both alluring and dangerous.
Who are you?
Doyuk asked, his voice hoarse. The high priest smiled, a chillingly skeletal grin.
I am the shepherd of this land, and you, traveler, have stumbled upon my flock.
A new figure emerged from the shadows, his steps heavy and deliberate. Aruga, his face a mask of cold fury, stood opposite Doyuk. The tension between them was palpable, a silent storm brewing in the ruined landscape.
You carry the mark of the disruptor.
Aruga growled, his eyes fixed on Doyuk. His words hung in the air, heavy with accusation. Doyuk glanced down at his hand, at the gleaming coins he held. These coins, imbued with a strange energy, were more than just currency. They represented power, influence, a way out of this desolation. But at what cost?
These coins are a symbol of hope.
Dohyuk stated, his voice firm despite his exhaustion. He knew the truth, the weight of responsibility they carried. These coins weren't just his, they represented the survival of countless others.
Hope, these coins are a curse, a chain binding us to a broken system. Look around you, this is the legacy of your so-called hope.
The high priest, watching the confrontation with an unnerving calmness, stepped forward. He held out his hand, his bony fingers beckoning.
The coins, traveler, he rasped. Give them to me, and I will grant you the power to rebuild this world.
Dohyuk hesitated, torn between Aruga's warnings and the high priest's tempting offer. The power to rebuild this shattered world, it was a tantalizing prospect. But could he trust the high priest? Was this power worth the price? He looked at Aruga, his face etched with concern. Aruga met his gaze, his expression a mixture of anger and resignation. He knew the temptation Dohyuk faced, the allure of a quick solution.
Don't do it, Doyuk, Aruga warned, his voice low and urgent. This power comes at a price we can't afford to pay.
Dohyuk, caught in the middle, felt the weight of their gazes upon him. The fate of countless lives rested on his decision. Could he gamble with their future? Could he risk perpetuating the very cycle that had led to this devastation? The high priest, sensing Dohyuk's hesitation, smiled again.
This world was once a beacon of prosperity, he said, his voice smooth and persuasive. But the people, they grew weak, complacent. They forgot the source of their strength.
He gestured to the ruins around them.
Only through the guidance of true power can you rebuild. Only through me.
Dohyuk glanced at a nearby wall, at the remnants of a faded mural. It depicted people, their faces filled with reverence, offering coins to a towering figure radiating light. A figure that looked suspiciously like the high priest. A chill ran down Dohyuk's spine. This world, this civilization, had been built on a foundation of dependence. Dependence on a power they didn't understand, a power that ultimately led to their downfall. Dohyuk looked around at the ruins, at the desolate landscape that stretched out before him. This wasn't just a physical destruction, it was the shattering of a system, the collapse of a way of life. He thought of the coins, of the power they held. It was a seductive power, a quick fix to a complex problem, but could a problem this deep be solved with a simple exchange?
This is wrong, Doyuk muttered, more to himself than anyone else.
He realized the truth in Aruga's words. These coins, this power, it was all part of a cycle of dependence, of blind faith, of surrendering their agency to a higher power, a cycle that inevitably led to this. He looked at the high priest, at the expectant look on his skeletal face. He saw not a savior, but a symptom of a system that thrived on control, on keeping people reliant and subservient, and Do-hyuk refused to be a part of it any longer.
I won't do it, Do-hyuk said, his voice firm despite the tremor in his chest. He met the high priest's gaze, his own filled with newfound resolve.
The high priest's smile faltered, replaced by a flicker of anger.
You would refuse my offer, he hissed, his voice laced with menace. You would condemn these people to suffer?
Their fate is not yours to decide, Do-hyuk retorted, his voice echoing through the ruins. We will rebuild this world together, not through blind faith, but through our own strength.
A faint light began to emanate from Do-hyuk, a glimmer of hope in the desolate landscape. True strength lay in breaking free from that cycle, in forging their own path. He didn't know what the future held, but he knew this: they would face it together, as equals.